Hi, it's Alex from ARB and I'm here with Tony from GME to talk about how these two Australian iconic brands work together in the Australian four-wheel drive market. Tony, how are you?
Good, mate. How you going?
Good to see you, very well. How long has ARB and GME worked together?
We've been working together now for over 20 years. And the reason that I believe that the companies work so well together is because we both share the same passion for supplying the best possible quality products to the Australian four-wheel drive market.
There's lots of options when it comes to UHF radios. What are some of the common questions that customers ask?
There's a lot of questions that we get asked about the volume of products. There's lots of products and it can be quite overwhelming, particularly if it's the first time that you're buying a UHF radio. So the best place to start is actually your local ARB store. If you head in and see the team, they'll be able to identify the best radio and antenna solution for your particular vehicle. They've got lots of experience fitting radios into all different vehicles and they'll be able to give you the best solution for your needs.
There's lots of options within the GME range, both on radios and aerials. What are the most common questions you get asked by customers when buying the UHF?
So the most common question, without doubt, is how far is my radio going to transmit? And we usually answer with, it depends. The reason we say that is it depends where your antenna's mounted, the gain of the antenna that you're using, and of course the geographic conditions of the area that you're in. What you really need to consider is how often you're going to use the radio. So if you're only using the radio once a year for a trip, maybe a handheld radio is a better option for you. If you're going to be regularly using your vehicle to go out camping or touring, then absolutely the best solution for you is going to be a fixed mount radio with an externally mounted antenna, and that's going to give you the best transmission distance possible. So one of the other things that you really need to consider is the type of vehicle that you're installing your radio in. All of our antennas and our radios can be installed in any vehicle, but we've got some specific accessories that are custom designed to suit specific models of vehicle that can really make the install a lot neater and look like it was there from the factory.
We see lots of different cars within the ARB network, some of which have very limited dash space. What are some of the solutions GME offer to accommodate for that?
It's a really interesting question because what we're seeing over time is that obviously the screens in cars are getting much bigger and the dashes are becoming more and more filled with lots of electronic gadgetry. So it means there's less space to drill a radio into the front of the dash like we used to. The most popular radios that we sell now are what we call a hideaway unit. So the main unit is mounted up under the dash, behind the glove box, or even down in the kick panel. And then we've got a smart microphone, which is all you need on your dash. It's got all of the controls, it's got a nice bright screen, and obviously a really powerful speaker. So that's all you need on the dash to get really good audio.
Really good point, Tony. In my Everest, the fitters have put the RJ45 in the dashboard. When I'm using it, it's on display, very accessible. When it's not, it unplugs, it goes in the glove box, hidden, no concerns.
And the other thing that you really need to take into consideration, and what a lot of people overlook, is where you actually mount the antenna on the vehicle. You can have the best radio in the world, but if you've got a poor quality antenna, or the antenna isn't mounted in the correct location, you're not going to get the optimal performance out of your radio. In years gone by, center of the roof, drill a hole, mount your antenna. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not that keen to drill a hole in the roof of my car. One of the beauties of most modern four-wheel drives is they're getting a bull bar installed. Having an antenna mounted on the bull bar means there's going to be very limited obstruction and you're going to get the best possible transmission distance out of your antenna. One thing we do see a lot of is people mounting antennas on the backs of their vehicles, behind the swingaways. They're not going to get optimal performance, except when they're talking to the people behind them.
We've recently seen lots of customers put the ARB base rack on their car, utilise the hidden channeling to run the wiring. What do you think of that?
I think it's a brilliant idea. The higher you can have your antenna mounted on your vehicle, the better the performance is going to be. You need to remember that UHF is line of sight communication. So getting the antenna up nice and high on the roof rack means you're going to transmit the furthest possible distance, and it's also going to improve your receive capability. Now you may think it'll be quite annoying to have an antenna mounted on the top of your roof rack, and of course if you're driving around town, parking your car in a garage, you may not want the antenna up there all the time. We've got a range of folding antenna brackets, so you can mount one of them to your base rack with your antenna on it, fold it down when you're not using it, and then when you're heading out on a trip, fold the antenna up and you're going to get the best performance possible.
Most visual part of any UHF installation is the antenna. Can you give everyone an explanation as to what application will suit their sort of driving?
Yeah, for sure. There's a number of antennas in our range and it can be a bit overwhelming when you look at the full range and there's 50 plus antennas, but there's specific differences between them that will impact how well they perform in your particular application. The most important thing to consider is the height of the antenna, or the length of it. A shorter antenna will have lower gain, so it won't transmit as far as a longer antenna, but it will transmit a more round radiation pattern, which means if you're in the high country, for example, and you're in hilly terrain, a shorter antenna will actually transmit better and more effectively than a longer antenna because it's going to transmit a pattern that can come over the top of those hills. If you're out on the plains, if you're crossing the Nullarbor and it's very flat terrain, having a longer antenna with higher gain means that the antenna can transmit much further. But if there are obstructions like hills or in a particularly built up area, the antenna is not going to perform as well as a short antenna. Now, the beauty of this is the majority of antennas in our range have interchangeable whips, which means that the base on the antenna stays on the vehicle and you can simply unscrew the whip. If you're going across the desert, you can put a longer antenna on. And then if you're going to do a high country trip, for example, you can put the shorter antenna back on and you're going to get that much better performance in hilly terrain.
I've seen loads of fitters make this look really easy. How simple is it for a DIY installation?
So anybody can install a radio in their vehicle, but not everybody can install a radio well. This is where the experience of ARB comes in. The team have fitted thousands of radios and antennas, and they'll know the way to install that product in your specific vehicle to get the best possible performance out of it.
GME offer far more than just UHFs. Tell us a bit more about the product range.
So we do offer a wide range of products. We've got things like cellular antennas, personal locator beacons, and a wide range of communications products to suit lots of different applications. The good news about that is ARB can get in anything you need from the GME range. We're always pushing the boundaries in terms of what's available in a UHF radio, and the way we do that is by getting feedback from the likes of ARB. So when you come in and ask questions about specific use cases for your application, that gets back to us and we feed that back in through our engineering team to develop the latest and greatest in UHF.
Thanks, Tony, that is fantastic information. If you would like any more information on the latest GME products, come down to your local ARB store and talk to one of our professionals. You'll get the right advice, you'll get it professionally installed. Best of all, you get the peace of mind that the ARB network offers. Over 160 stores nationwide gives you the peace of mind, whether it be a short weekend away or the lap of a lifetime, we have you covered.